Okay, come here. You got like.
And welcome to Benchmonster TV.
I'm Ashley Lynn Condre.
And I am the Benchmonster. Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody is having a glorious day today.
Hope you've had a good week. Thank you for joining us.
Well, I want to cut right to the chase. We got Jim Voronin waiting in the wings. Special guest tonight, so I don't want to fiddle fart around and take up too much time. We got a lot of questions to ask and a lot of things to cover. So that being said, I'm going to just do this little intro that I pulled off the internet of Jim. I like to read it and I like to play a little, what's on a slideshow, just a host of his accolades as I go through this little intro, and then we'll bring in Jim and we will start asking questions, people. Let's see here. Jim Voronin, a junior high school assistant principal, teacher by day. Jim Voronin is an impressively large man. He is a very accomplished powerlifter. Some highlights of his athletic resume include the title of 1998 APF Senior National Champion in the super heavyweight class. This was his fourth time winning it in the third year in a row, 1994, 1996, and 1997. In the international arena, Mr. Voronin consistently comes home with a big total. In his first appearance in the WPC in 1991, he came in third. In 1992, 93, 94, and 96, he came in second. His powerlifting totals have earned him a top 10 ranking in super heavyweight rankings in Powerlifting USA for the last 6 rankings in a row. He's been in the top 5 in the same list for the last 5 rankings. In 1997, he made his Strongman debut when we competed in the U.S. Strongman Finals in Primm, Nevada. He perhaps is best remembered by the viewing audience as a competitor who did the full splits after doing a keg toss, a very impressive display of flexibility. He also won the bar bend event. He's also known for his thick neck, which measures in excess of 25 inches. Best lifts in competition include a 909 squat, 633-pound bench press, a 600-pound reverse grip bench press, a 733-pound deadlift, 2,242-pound total. In the gym, he's done a neck raise with 250 pounds for 5 reps. One-handed seated dumbbell press with 200 pounds. The guy's a monster, and I'm excited to have him on the show. It gives me chills. I definitely want to ask about the neck measurement and how I can increase my neck measurement. Between him and Todd Beecraft, this will be fun. So, without further ado, I think we can bring in Jim.
Let's welcome Jim Voronin to the
welcome, Jim.
show.
Will you turn up your volume there, Jim? How you doing, Jim?
How are you today?
Doing great. What's up,
Thank
guys?
you for joining us.
Thank you.
It's very good to have you here.
And I gotta say, some of those numbers went up. Best competitive squad, and again, I'm not trying to blow my horn. Best competitive squad, and again, it didn't seem like anything. Now, squatted 924. Bench was 700, and I finally pulled 755.
Nice.
So those numbers went up from the time you got it.
Nice. Okay. Nice. Very cool.
Yeah, I pulled that off the internet. I hope. I figured those numbers might be a little off, but
they're a little outdated, yeah. But at the end,
yeah, we got a lot of questions to cover here, Jim.
Yeah,
let's
talk about.
Okay. Like Ashley's the question asker, so she's got a host of questions here, and I might chime in periodically and throw in a question myself. So let's get it rolling.
Can you guys hear me okay? Is my volume okay?
I think the volume's okay. You're hitting the yellow, and we're in the yellow.
Todd says check the sound.
I just bought a new iMac. It better be working.
Yeah, your audio is just a tad choppy, but Todd Beecraft is in the chat box, and he says check the sound. Todd, how we coming through? It's good now. Todd says it's good now. Okay.
All right. Awesome.
We got Todd's approval.
Excellent. We're off to a good start.
That's good.
All right. So, when and how did you get into weightlifting in general, and how did you get introduced into powerlifting, competitive powerlifting?
I got introduced to weightlifting in general my freshman year of high school. I won't say what year because that's going to age me. We got the letter for football to come get in shape. So I mean, of course, I came from a small Texas high school. We had a universal gym, and everybody had those things. So that was the introduction. And then when we went, my sophomore to junior year, went to free weights. I mean, that was heaven. So pretty much it was training for athletics.
Okay.
I got into powerlifting. I went to the. I mean, I was still. I realized that there was something there. I mean, I was bigger and stronger than most of the guys I went to school with. And so, in the summer of 1983, I graduated high school, still working out. I went to see the senior nationals in Austin, Texas, and you had John Gamble, Bill Kazmaier, all the big names, Ricky Crane, and I sat there and I just said, "This is what I want to do." I was hooked. So from that point on, it was just reading Powerlifting USA. I was hooked. I mean, when I saw Kazmaier get up on stage and he's trying to get under the bar, I mean, actually Kazmaier and John Gamble. I mean, Gamble they're both ripped, but I see these guys. They're they're trying to get under the bar. They're so damn big, and that's a squat. And I was just like, that was it. So from then on, I did all I could do just to learn about the sport.
Nice, very cool. Now, what about how you got into strongman competing? How'd that happen?
That was a fluke. That was in the. I kind of toyed with the idea. That's when strongman was in its infancy. I remember getting a call. This was like, okay, I'm gonna age myself. I remember getting a call in like 1994 from. Can't think of the guy's name, from Scotland, who did the strongman stuff. Made an offer, and at first I thought it was my training partner messing with me. So I called the guy back and I said, you know what, I didn't want to do it, blew it off. So fast forward, after seniors in 1990, it was like 97. I mean, I won seniors. I had a pec tear. I was kind of broken down. I just started my graduate work, and I said, I'm going to take some time off. I bypassed on the world team, and I get a call in like late August from the promoter, saying, hey, we want you to come to compete at this. And we talked back and forth, and I said, I'm doing this, doing that, and he said, well, worst you can do is we're going to pay all expenses paid, and we're going to give all expenses paid. You come in $1,000 less. So I'm sold. So I pretty much pimped myself out. I got there. And again, I had no clue. I mean, quite a few of us. I mean, they had athletes who were like track and field, Olympic lifting. I mean, you only had really maybe two guys that did strongman before. That was Harold Collins and Mark Filippi, who had experience. So the rest of us didn't know what the hell we were doing.
Really?
So went out there, and on the basic strength events, I mean, I did that one. Did okay. I was like third place up to the second day, and then for the implements, I mean, I lost it. I had no implement training, and I remember on the fourth and final day, we were getting ready for sumo wrestling, and they're putting them out. I mean, they're putting the diaper on us, the Mawashi. That was embarrassing. And Mike Lambert from Powerlifting USA, he's in that room. And I looked at Mike, this is the fourth day. We've done 3 events a day for 3 straight days. This is the last day on the 4th day. And I said, Mike, I'm going to go out to powerlifting. I said, this is hard. And he just kind of laughed. That was my foray. I was going to do the North America's Strongest Man. That didn't pan out. I just kind of stuck with powerlifting. So, yeah, it was just physically, I mean, those guys, it's tough. So I wore the diaper. I've got nothing to hide from America. ESPN has rights. I have no control.
I actually Todd Beecraft forwarded the YouTube video of that actual contest, and I did see the sumo wrestling part. I thought that was pretty cool, and referencing the diaper, I did see that. And hey, you're still a warrior in my book, man.
Right. What's really funny about the time, there was a guy. I mean, we're all sitting there. They got us. We're going to do it poolside. That was the last event on the 4th day. And by this time, we all got to be friends. There was a controversy about we didn't want to do it because we all got we got to be kind of tight. And we said we don't want to get in a fight with anybody when anything happen. They said if you don't do it, you don't get paid. It's like, okay, we'll do it. And some guys just kind of some that were not in the running, they kind of kneeled down. But the funny thing was, we're in the they got us in the we're all wearing those diapers, and some of us have shorts on, some don't. And Tom Inglesby from Georgia, he's sitting there. I mean, Tom, he's country boy. I mean, damn strong, great Olympic lifter. He looks around, he's like, y'all, I said, I'm from Georgia. I said, this just ain't right. And I looked over and said, yeah, that's all Deliverance. Don't worry about it. So Kevin Toth, one of the top shot and discus guys, he stood up and he just said, F it. I mean, he dropped his shorts. All of us walked out in shorts except Ken. I mean, we all waited till the last possible minute to bear it all. Some of us by that time, we were just like, if you were into the running, some of us just, like for me, I mean, I was tired. I wasn't going to advance. I just said, just drop. So, yeah. So, and the fun, a side story, my wife then, she called me that night and she said, what'd you do today? And told her, so we did this. She said, I said, we did sumo wrestling. And she's being real cute. She goes, oh, did you wear that little diaper? And I was like, yeah, we did. And she goes, no, really? I said, no, we wore the diaper. And you hear this 5-second pause. She goes, oh my God. I said, people saw your hiney. I said, yeah, they did. I mean, you can't hide it. So yeah, ESPN has rights. I'm out there.
Okay.
But yeah, that was my Strongman. That was my one and done.
All right. Did you play any sports in high school? If so, which ones?
Oh God, we're in Texas. Football is king.
I'm just gonna guess that.
Live, breathe, die. Yeah, football. I think I played around track one year, but yeah, it was just football all the way.
Nice.
Lineman, of course. This is not a running back or quarterback body.
How big were you in high school, Jim? Like height and weight?
Probably hitting over 6 foot. I think my heaviest in high school was 240, 245.
Wow. That's a good sized man.
So back then, of course, back then, back then. But I mean, you got these kids now. I'm seeing they're like 6'5", 300. I mean, again, the genetics are just something happened in Texas. I'm just nationwide. I don't know what it is, but some of these kids coming out of high school, it's just like, oh. I worked. Was at a high school that I worked at a couple years ago. Coming up on a game, I was working the field, and came up with this offensive lineman. I mean, I'm looking up at him like I said, "Oh my God!" I mean, just monstrous. And I've seen some big people, but I mean, still nowadays the genetics on these kids is just phenomenal.
That's crazy.
How much did you squat, bench, and deadlift in high school as a freshman and as a senior?
We really didn't do that much. It's embarrassing. We didn't really do that much. We didn't do. Okay, I can remember. I've got the picture out here in the hallway. We had a high school powerlifting meet that our coaches put together just to test us. I think in my junior year, I squatted 325. I think benched mid 200s, and deadlift I can't remember. I mean, it's gonna go fast forward to 10 years. And I'm doing behind the neck presses with that. Yeah, there's a picture of me in the hallway from high school of the squatting, and it's just like stick legs.
Those are impressive numbers for high school, man. I was a beanpole in high school, so.
Dude, hey, not nowadays. I mean, the Texas. I've been a state judge for like the last 15 years in Texas. And each year, the state records for these kids, I mean, for every weight class, it just keeps getting higher and higher. I think like 2 years ago, we had a kid super heavyweight, and you're talking in a power rack walking out, squatted 1,005, single suit, I mean, walking it out, and it was deep.
Wow.
We had a kid like 4 or 5, bench 700. I mean, they know how to use the gear, but still the fact that the lifts. Had one on my platform like 2 years ago at 275. He opened up at 700 like it was 135, and then he was 740. And again, it just blew me away. So I don't know, just the genetics on these kids. I mean, they have no clue. It's out of this world.
Well, that's cool that high school sports down in Texas, they have powerlifting as a sport, which is kind of cool. Unlike where we live.
Yeah.
So.
When was your first powerlifting meet, and how much did you squat, bench, and deadlift at it?
Oh geez, not count. I can't remember. Not counting the high school meet. I was at the initial Longhorn Open in Austin, Texas in 1985. It was before USAPL, was AFPA. I think I squatted mid to high fives. And this was 275, light 275. I didn't understand back then, hey, you gain weight, you're going to get stronger. So probably I'm like high five squat, high 300s bench, and probably mid to low 500s deadlift.
Nice.
Can't exact numbers.
Was that raw or was that in some?
Meet. The really cool thing was we got to meet lifter Mike Hall, and Mike Hall at the time, I mean, was a dominant super heavyweight, drug free. I mean, this guy was massive, 400 pounds, nicest guy in the world. They're very encouraging. So that kind of had an effect on me.
Wow.
Okay. Well, I guess you kind of told us about this already, but when was your first strongman comp?
Again, Prim, Nevada. I didn't even know Prim, Nevada existed. I never heard of it. I mean, they call it's about an hour outside of Las Vegas. It's got 3 hotels, gas station. I mean, a nice place. Cheap hotels. That was in 1997.
Okay.
Yeah, got a good tan, got sunburned.
What is your training split? What days do you do what lifts when you train?
When you train powerlifting.
When I did powerlifting, right now, just pretty much it's circuit training. What we pretty much did was training with Scott Warman. We did shoulders and triceps. We do on Sunday. We would come in on Tuesdays and do deadlift and deadlift accessories. Wednesdays was bench and bench accessories, and then Friday was squat night. And Friday nights were phenomenal. I mean, I was telling Ryan last night. I mean, those nights were just freaking awesome. You'd live for squat nights. But yeah, we did that like 4 days, just pretty much a progressive system.
Awesome, perfect. When you were prepping for your competitions, what was your diet like? Did you just eat lots of calories, or were you restrictive at all, or what?
Yeah. No, it was a lot of calories, but I was like low fat. I mean, for a super heavyweight, I was really. I look back on it now. For a super heavyweight, I was like really cautious about what I ate. I didn't eat deep fried foods, no fried foods. Up to the point I was like sick of chicken. I did a lot of chicken, a lot of fish, because I didn't want to be butt and gut. I always said I didn't want to have after seeing Kazmaier and John Gamble, I went into Dave Jacoby and those guys. I wanted to look that part. I didn't want to be with people that just some big fat ass walking in the room. And I saw them not being a jerk. I saw too many supers coming into a meets. I mean, they're red in the face, or they're sweating, they're struggling for breath. It's like, oh my god. So I mean, I did a lot of chicken, a lot of baked potatoes, did a lot of rice. Did protein drinks. I mean, no fat, no deep fried foods, no fatty foods. Some of that was due to the fact that my training partner ate the same way, and his wife at the time was a professional bodybuilder, so I knew I'd catch hell. So, but I was pretty cautious about it.
Okay. So
you didn't eat out at anywhere. Kept it really clean, basically. That's good.
No, if I ate out, it was look on again. This was when I was living in El Paso, Texas. I had one place, it was called Rib Hut. Hey guys, Rib Hut pretty much, they sponsored me at one point. They knew when I walked in, it was a baked chicken and a grilled chicken potato, and they had those Fred Flintstone ribs. I've got to watch my red meat. So I was pretty cautious, just for health wise.
Okay. What type of powerlifting gear did you use?
Ooh, nothing like that now. I think the first suit I ever bought was from Ernie France, and that was back in I'm gonna age myself, like before my first powerlifting meet in mid '80s, and it really wasn't even. I mean, I look back now, it wasn't even tight. I mean, I didn't get no pun intended. I didn't get squat out of it. I wore I wore Fran's gear for a long time until the early 2000s, and then John Inzer came in and would help me out, and then custom made my suits. I did wore for a long time for my wraps. I wore red line wraps that Pacifica was selling, and then I went to the double the double reds that John had. And then for deadlifting, I experimented with the Inzer the Inzer Max, but I pretty much for deadlift I wore a singlet. I mean, I never really got. I tried. There was a suit that Ernie Franz made that was from the chest down was like a squat suit, and from the chest up was Lycra, it was special made. And I got from that. I just went ahead because I couldn't really get in position to get. I mean, I was a standard lift, conventional. And then I just more or less went to a singlet because I couldn't get in position. I tried the Inzer Max suit, and again, it constricted me because trying to get down the bar, again, I just felt I couldn't get my air in. So without the suit, so yeah, I just wore a singlet. And then my belt was made from Inzer. It was double belt, red and black, Texas Tech, Red Raiders. Wore that. So. Then squat shoes. I bought a pair of, and I don't even know if he's in business anymore. I bought a pair of squat shoes from Safe, and the thing was on the bottom of the shoe, it was like a spongy material. So I took it to a shoemaker in El Paso and said, "Can you put the same wedge but make it hard leather?" And he put there. And I mean, they're in my closet right now. That's one thing I kept is my squat shoes and my belt. So, but I pretty much stuck to that. Throughout the years.
Okay, perfect. Have you suffered from any injuries in your powerlifting career? And if so, how did you recover from those injuries?
It's ironic you mention that because I just had hip replacement done back on my 5th, which is probably due to the wear and tear. No, I got really pretty lucky throughout all that time. I mean, I had aches and pains, but I think the one thing that happened was right before we were going to go to South. I qualified for the world team, and my bench was flying. And Scott, you'll love this. My bench was just taking off. I had a PR in the seniors in Atlanta, Georgia, and then my training was just flying. And right about 5 weeks out, 6 weeks out before we were going to South Africa, my airfare was paid, my hotel, I had everything. I was taken care of. All I had to do was train. And I was on a PR night, my last night without a bench shirt, and on my fourth, and this is why I remember because it was so vivid. My 4th rep with like 495, 500 pounds for repping for 5. On the 3rd or 4th one, I felt a popping in my pec. So it turned out it was a partial tear. It bled like a son of a gun. I went in my arm and whatnot. I went to bed right after that. And the orthopedic that I went to, he said it's not surgical. So pretty much I was like, okay, I'm just waiting for it to reattach or tear off. He said pretty much. So I got, I'll say lucky. I went to South Africa. And it killed me because I took about 100 plus pounds off my bench. I went from being, that would have been my 700 bench the first time in 1996. And I think I did like 551, and the other two, my lockout wasn't even, and so, that probably put me in the running for my first world title. So, but after that, I went from that was early November. I went for about 2 months doing no chest work, and came back and started practicing reverse grip, and from there on, that's like history. History followed itself.
Okay.
So at that point, no more pronated grip.
Outside of the gym, what do you like to do? What are your hobbies?
Well, I used to like to go to the movies, but that's kind of been put the kibosh on.
I know. Sucks.
Yeah, I know. And I'm waiting. It kind of kicks me out because I'm waiting for John Wick to come out next year, and just it pushed it back. I spend time with my family, cook on the grill, read, just work out in the gym, just hang around the house.
Okay, nice.
Play with my dogs. We've got a new puppy. She's gone now. Yeah, we've got a new puppy. I'm trying to train her.
What kind of puppy do you have, Jim?
Australian Shepherd.
Nice. Okay. What training partners have you had over the years? What are some of your best training partners? Who are some of your best training partners?
Ooh, I had a really good group of guys when I was in college. That again, we didn't know anything. I mean, we were just spinning our wheels. I think that, I was thinking about this. I was taking the trash out a while before you all called, and I thought about this. I said the turning point for me was in like September of 1989. I just moved to El Paso, and a friend of mine, me and his wife went to, and I knew Scott Warman and his wife moved there. Scott was the strength coach at UT El Paso, and I had identified with Scott because for the sport, he was considered a tall lifter. Now that's 6'1". Of course, I'm 6'3", so I had him by 2 inches. But for years, I identified with him because, hey, this is a tall lifter. Because, I met Mike Bridges. He was like 5'3". I met these other guys who were like under 6 foot. And I was like, okay, so what about guys my size? So we went into a place in, I'd say, September '89. And we're eating breakfast, dinner, brunch, whatever. It's like late night. Well, Scott comes in with his wife and another guy. And he turns around, we start talking. And his first words were, how's your deadlift? And, of course, I couldn't deadlift. My deadlift sucked. So I talked to him. He invited me to come train with him. So I thought, well, I'm going to come. And, again, you're a smart ass. You think you're going to know everything. I said, okay, I'll come for a bench, and I got this going on. So when I did a couple of nights there, when I decided to fully commit, and that's just when everything took off. Scott and I, we had, and again, whatever happened near the end, that I won't go into that, but those 19 years were just heavily impacted my life and my training. Whatever happened personally, that's one thing, but as far as training wise and teaching me, he more or less influenced me what I want to do for other people. He said he was good enough to take time to teach me, so I want to do that to other people. But yeah, those times, those 8-9 years, some of the best times of my life.
Nice.
That wasn't too mushy, was it?
No,
that was good.
No, it was perfect.
I was telling Ryan last night. We were talking. I said when his former wife on squat nights on Friday. Man, I'd sit there and be teaching class, and it's hard to concentrate because for leg day, you were pumped up for squat night. That was it. You came in there and it was loud music. Just pumped up, helping each other. Those nights were phenomenal. I would not trade that for the world.
Nice, very cool. What is your favorite moment in your powerlifting career?
Oh God, I'd have to pick one. If I had to pick one, I think it's the time I bent 700 pounds. That was a pinnacle.
Yeah, that's really cool. Very impressive.
If I had to pick just one, that was a pinnacle. And the real pisser is knowing if I listened to my gut instincts and trained properly, I could have done more. Whereas now you got the man sitting to the right of you who like 700 pounds, like it's 135. So
I appreciate that.
Hey, dude, like I said, we just pass the baton on to you guys.
What is your favorite moment in your strongman career?
I think probably winning the bar bend in Prim. Because again, a lot of us were there. You only had really 3 people that had strongman competition experience, so the rest of us were like clueless. Again, seeing when Tom Inglesby did a split snatch with the log lift. Again, even the announcers at Kazmaier was blown away. That's never been done before. So the fact that the bar bend, And it's kind of sad to say that was a result of me just having construction jobs in the summer and screwing out, goofing off on the job and bending rebar around my neck.
Really?
Yeah, they changed on about the fourth bar. They changed it from standard steel to stainless steel, which doesn't bend. And when I went around that pool because I asked Kazmaier, "What's the best thing?" He said, "Get as much leverage." I went around taking towels from the people, just stealing towels to get like a lap pull down.
I gotcha.
And that bar, when they put that, I did the first initial pull, and I got dizzy. It was like, oh my god, what is this? So yeah, I won by a smidgen. But yeah, I think winning that event. The other one was, I think, the fact of when we did the barrel toss was I didn't quite. It's kind of embarrassing. They had the wall built, but the crew was trying. They had to build. I mean, this was the barrel toss was done on spur of the moment because they wanted it to be the 56-pound weight toss like in the Highland Games, and none of us had experience. And for the TV for the show, they knew they wanted to build it up. So let's do the keg, and that's the first time. What's ironic is that's after that the keg toss became a staple in Strongman. Well, I mean, they were scrambling to get boards to build the wall up. So I came up and I didn't time it right, and I cut loose, and of course my barrel didn't make it over. I split one of the boards, and I hear these guys cussing me out from the back, like, sorry. So, but yeah, those two, the barrel toss and the bar bend. I mean, that was two of the best parts.
Awesome, perfect. Now, what's your least favorite or worst moment in your powerlifting career?
2000, the 2000 WPC Invitational in Las Vegas because I bombed out. Horrible meet. It just, I mean, I'm not blaming anybody. Wasn't well planned. I wasn't very focused. It just, bombed out. Of all things, in the bench.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Made it through the squat, then got to the bench, and
they misloaded. It took me 3 squats because what they did, they reversed the mountain lift. Instead of facing forward, they did it where instead of facing front, they flipped it. So where you would normally walk in and face the stuff in the front, it was backwards. So that's what we're getting used to. Got to the bench. My first bench, they misloaded, and it didn't finish it. Second one, because I was so spent, and the third one wasn't even a clue. I mean, I was just tuckered out. So, yeah, we started drinking beer early that day.
I bet. I can see that. What's your least favorite moment in your strongman career?
In strongman career, probably the third day in Prim, because it was all strong. It was a strongman I trained on, and no clue technique.
Right.
So I mean, I was just getting it out there, and of course, everybody's fighting for a spot. So I mean, they're not going to. And Magnuson was notorious for this. Said he would tell you after the event what you did wrong. And he would ask him. He said, "Why didn't you tell me this before? I'm glad I want you to beat me." So yeah, third day there was like the hand over hand pull, the bus pull, and one other event, and I didn't know what to do.
Okay. When you first started out, what lifters did you look up to?
Oh man, number one, Bill Kazmaier. I saw. I knew who Kazmaier was, and when I went to the 1983 Senior Nationals in Austin, just as a spectator, when he came up on the platform, and I said, "That's it, right there." Other on Gamble. I mean, Gamble was a 275er, and the guy came up looked like a bodybuilder. I mean, I'm sitting there in the crowd. I mean, maybe 12 rows back. And I didn't know who he was at the time. I mean, I just saw. I mean, this big black guy comes up, I mean, muscled up. He takes his arm, gets the suit adjusted, does a like that, and the crowd goes nuts. Okay, I mean, he's just in the suit. His lats are out there. I mean, he's just thick as a brick. And took 800 something pounds, took it deep, walked it out, and walked out. Said, and I was like, these are the guys I want to be. But my number one inspiration was Kazmaier. When I met him, fast forward, we went to the Strongman contest in Nevada. When I met Kazmaier, came out, and when I met him, I called my wife and I said, I'm done. I said the trip is done. I've reached the pinnacle. I said I met him. She's like, you met that little guy? I said, no. I said, honey, I met Kazmaier. I'm done. I said, it's over. So yeah, and the fact that he was just so generous with us and pumped us up and cheered for everybody. Yeah, but just looking at him, I saw him in '83, and I was like, that's what an athlete looks like.
Very cool. What are your favorite accessory exercises for squat, bench, and deadlift?
Squat, I got good results out of high bench squats. You do overloads. You take a bench, you squat maybe 3 to 4 inches above parallel. Bench would be heavy dips, weighted dips,
really,
and board presses. Deadlifts would be, I got good results for me off of seated good mornings and block deadlifts. And I'm not talking rack deadlifts. I'm talking block deadlifts because you're starting from the elevated position. The bar doesn't bend. It's gonna be like you're doing from the floor.
Oh.
So I got great results out of those.
Okay. Perfect. Great. What is your favorite, most fun meet that you've done?
Oh man, that's an easy one. Fun meet was my first year in 19. Okay, I'm gonna give the year. I'm aging myself. Was when I first qualified for senior nationals, the APF seniors in 1991. Jeff Wright was putting the meet on in Station Square in Pennsylvania, and it was a huge. This is before it got divided. Had this huge ballroom. People. It was packed in. You had vendors. A ton of vendors off the side. It was phenomenal. You had vendors there. That was my first time I'd lifted in the 308 class, and I remember thinking I'd cut weight gradually. I was like 307 and a half, which I wish I could get to now. And there was a place back there. It was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Station Square. And I remember thinking there was a place, there was a thing called Power Pizza, and they were getting samples in the back of the room. And again, this huge ballroom. And I was like, God, I was so hungry. but again, I'm eating lifters like Ricky Crane, Doug Heath, John Ware, Curtis Leslie. All these guys are read about Powerlifting USA. That looked up to, and they're treating me like an equal. Just nice as can be. And I'm just like, holy crap. It just blew me away. Just regular guys. They weren't jerks about it. So, just the intensity of the meet. It's kind of hard to get that back anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those were different times.
Right.
Yeah, just being at that meet, my first time there, everything I read in Powerlifting USA for like 5 years just came to life. And here I am, pretty much a nobody, and they're treating me like an equal. I'm just, John Ware's totaling 2,400 pounds and talking to me, and I'm just like, I'm just almost like Wayne's World. I'm not worthy.
Yeah, that's my question for you, Jim. John Ware, he's a guy I saw in Powerlifting magazine. Never met the man. Had a huge total. What was he, over 300 pounds? Super heavy.
Yeah, he was mid 300s. John was extremely smart. The guy. Training wise and book smart. He was supposed to go to law school.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was a law school candidate. When I met him, he was competing super heavyweight, and then he went in '92. He cut back to the 308 class and dominated there. And then sadly, I remember like 5 years later, passed away from a heart condition.
Oh shoot! Yeah.
Yeah, but the guy. Again, for him to sit there and he talked to me. He knew Scott because from previous lifting, but he talked to me like just we knew each other our lives. And then It was kind of funny. We were in '92 when he went to 308 class. He was going out and going to take a walk. He went to keep his weight down. And Scott and I are in a restaurant by the hotel. He like runs over, taps on the window, waves, and runs off. So yeah, I mean, phenomenal. I mean, nice guy. I mean, again, in '91, it was like a dream world. I'm sitting there, all these guys I read about, and I'm in the middle of it. I mean, just a nobody, and they're just treating me like an equal.
It's very cool.
That's cool.
It was great. Those, I will say, those meets were, you can't repeat it. I mean, you had vendors coming in. You're filling big ballrooms in these hotels. Now the real pisser is, I mean, you're lucky if you can fit in a small one room in a Holiday Inn.
Right.
So I'll get off my soapbox. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
No, do your thing, man. It's your show. You can talk about whatever you want for as long as you want.
Good.
If you had the opportunity to go back and do it all over again, would you change anything? And if so, what would it be?
Would I change anything? Yes, I'd probably. I would probably do more, and I got to give the guy props. I would probably train more like Louis Simmons than what Louis doing, but not wholeheartedly. It just seems to work.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Gotcha.
So I'd still wear the same gear.
Okay. What advice can you? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, with Louis' thing, I think the one thing that Louis is onto is conditioning. Is you don't get tired.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's sucked getting up there for your third squat or whatever, your third lift, and you're sucking for breath. I mean, that's one thing. The conditioning, the conditioning part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the GPP and the sled pulling and things that they do, definitely.
Yeah, and it's really kind of funny was Louis. He printed an article, and it caught me off guard because what I was doing my worst hit was my deadlift. I mean, I had to bust my tail for my deadlift, and the thing I found out that worked was when I was doing block deadlifts, trap bar, and I was doing good mornings. I mean, I was doing high volume, worked for me. So I saw Louis at a meet, and I said, "Hey, the whole thing, the volume thing works." Come out about a couple months later in Powerlifting USA, he said, "Yeah, I got Jim Voronin from a 600 deadlift to 700 and he sled pulls." And I'm like, I said, "Well, wait, what?" So he kind of took that and ran with it. But yeah, no, I think the conditioning part is important for a lot of the lifters. I mean, I think he's really onto something.
Definitely. Okay. What advice can you offer new lifters that are just starting out in powerlifting?
Oh my gosh. Stay off the internet. Now, start slow, find what works for you, stick with the program. I mean, don't jump in, stick with the program and stay with it for a good period of time before you change. I think what happens is too many of them are looking for the latest, greatest, and they jump around. They like, 2 weeks. Oh, I'm not getting that. Yeah, find something that works for you. Stay with it. Make adjustments.
Good.
Yeah.
And stay off. If you're going to get on the internet, find somebody who's credible. Don't click on the first thing you see and buy into it.
I agree with you.
Great advice. Perfect. What about for Strongman? What advice can you offer new lifters that are wanting to get into Strongman competition?
Really have no advice there. I couldn't tell them. I more or less, I would say, best thing I'd say, find a credible strongman, ask them how they train, and ask them questions. And again, stay out the internet. Because the strongman contest I did, I mean, again, there was only maybe 3. There was Phil Martin, Harold Collins, and Mark Filippi. And Mark was an awesome competitive powerlifter who just transferred into strongman. It just worked. Harold, the same thing. Phil had I think the background was track and field. I mean, they knew strongman. So at that time, what had happened was the guy that won the year was Yoko Ahola. His back entrapped. I mean, his back was like a baby's butt. I mean, he was so freaking thick in the back. But he was one of the first ones who came out and did. People got on and said weight train and implement train. So the cross training part. So and you picked up from there. So yeah, you got to cross train.
And one of the questions I asked you last night about the strongman competing that you did is the camaraderie and good sportsmanship that everybody expressed. There wasn't like a, one guy who thought he was better than everybody. You guys pushed each other, and that was kind of a cool thing to hear last night. So I've never done strongman, Jim, and I wasn't sure how it worked.
No, for us at the time, again, you're talking again. The strongman had been. What had happened was, go back in history, was they did the original strongman was back in the early 80s, and Franco Colombo on the refrigerator lift. If you look at the video, Franco Colombo blew his knee out, and so he sued the. What happened was, he's running and said the strap broke. He blew his knee. Well, if you look at the video, his knee caved in. If you watch slow motion, his knee caved in. And then the strap broke after that. Well, he sued vice versa. Sure, when he sued TSW, who are the ones that promotes the strongman stuff. I mean, they're the same people that financially back Wimbledon. And so he sued, and he won. He got his $1 million. But if you look at the video, it's like, okay, it wasn't them. It was just he was trained with a knee injury. He didn't tell anybody, and that's what happened. So fast forward. TSW decided to sponsor it again because they saw what the World's Strongest Man was really popular on ESPN. They said, let's sponsor it again in the United States. So they went ahead and bankrolled it again in the States, and they selected all of us. So it was on a risk. So.
Okay. So that's it for our questions. We're going to go ahead and head into the chat box and answer some questions from there. Your shirt, by the way, has gotten a lot of positive comments.
Yeah.
Just so you know, there's like 3 or 4.
Well, let's read them.
People are loving the shirt. So,
Good.
So
I did purpose.
Well, people are liking it. The first comment says, Jim, thanks for wearing the thin blue line flag. We in the LEO community appreciate it. So it's a hit.
You're welcome. I've always backed the blue.
Same.
Todd Beecraft.
Todd Beecraft. Please.
Oh, big
Surprised to see his name there. No, definitely not. Please ask Jim what was his full neck routine in his prime and how often he trained it.
Pretty simple. I would do a head harness, and it was modified. I would go into a power rack. We had I'd get the head harness, and you have the upright stack that you put weights on, and I would just attach the weight, warm up, attach the weights on the 25-pound plates, and hook the harness up to it. Make sure I would get over. My back would be about parallel to the ground, in my head. I would put the sidebars where I could grab onto them, and you just come straight up and straight down for reps, 5 to 7 reps. Just build from there for I would go to 2 top sets.
How often did you train your neck? Once a week, twice a week?
Okay. Pretty much once a week. And the deal was that just that just kind of grew on its own because Scott and I, when Scott and I started, that was because we wanted to train our neck for deadlift on deadlift night, and it just took off a monster on its own. I mean, of course, again. I was getting calls from the year we went to for the World in South Africa. It wasn't about how's your list going. We talked to Neville Primich. It wasn't how your list's going. How this? He said, "I got your nice big neck." I saw that. I was like, Jesus, my other list's going really good too. So yeah, it just more or less took on a life of its own.
What was the actual circumference of your neck? I read over 25 inches. That's gigantic. 25 really? Wow.
Wow.
Damn, son.
Yeah. The side story was her first wedding. When my sister got married in '98, again, I'm training heavy there. I mean, this is how I brought my squat shoes to Dallas. I lived in El Paso, brought my stuff to Dallas, so I'm going to get a leg workout in. But I had to pre-order the tuxedo because I was going to give her away at her wedding. And I had to custom order the tuxedo. And the real pisser is, again, talk to the tuxedo place to give them the measurements. I had, because they figure if you had a 25 plus neck, you got like a 72-inch waist, which wasn't the case. So I had under the jacket, I had to tuck in about 3 yards of material and keep it there for the wedding, the pictures. So when the reception came in, I just cut loose. I just blew it out.
Like a cape.
Yeah, like a damn dress.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, Roger Broom says, cheers, Jim. He's drinking Maker's Mark. What's your poison? What's your favorite thing to drink?
Tito's vodka.
Tito's vodka. Interesting.
Low sugar.
Okay. Perfect. We got Todd Beecroft here again.
Oh, no.
Just this guy that keeps asking questions.
I know, and I knew. Hey, Todd, good to see you, bud.
So he's
APF Senior Nationals.
Asking now, 99 APF Senior Nationals epic battle between Jim Voronin versus Gary Frank. I was there in person, and the warm-up room was so intense it gives me chills to think about it. Gorillas in a cage. So it's not a question; it's a comment. But do you have anything you want to add? Want to tell us about that story?
No, 99 would have been in Daytona, and Karen Kidder was there, and he had Karen. And he did it in his gym, and Karen had an awesome gym. And Karen could have taken the AP. He just didn't plan properly. That back warm up area. I mean, we're sweating our butts off. It's humid. That was a great meet. And that was where I think. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think there. That's where I did the PR bench before I went to Idaho. So, and I think he and Julie Havelka were still dating. That was one of the last. That was probably one of the last great APF meets.
Warming up with Gary Frank, was there some intensity there? Are you guys pushing each other? I mean, Gary Frank's just a soft-spoken man, but when he turns it on, it's like a switch.
No, Gary, not a bit. Gary is supportive of everybody. He worries about his own lift, but I mean, the dude. When you're lifting, I mean, he is just super supportive. Like I said, the one time I tried to beat him was on body weight, and that just didn't happen. I was just like, okay, I quit.
Alex Estrada?
Jim, did you get to see Doug Furness compete in the 80s?
No, I did not. Scott did, but Doug was one of the ones who I really admired and wanted to be like. The guy, well, I met him at the WPO meet. He was handling Ed Cohn, and again, this is just how some of these lifters are. I met him at the WPO meet that took forever in 2001. I mean, the midnight meet. Ed, and again, met him, shook his hand, and he talked to me like we known each other forever.
Wow,
great guy.
Cool.
But again, another strength athlete that I respected. Never scratched the surface what he could do for pro wrestling.
Mr. Elite Entertainment has a question.
1996 WPC World Championships. Was the bench done with a torn pec?
1996. Yes. Yes, that would have been in Durban, South Africa. Yeah, that was when I had to switch really quick. it sucked. It took about 100 pounds off my bench. Yeah, Durban, South Africa. And I remember coming up with a paltry, like 557 or 573, and my lockout was uneven, and they called it. And Mara Sternberg, God rest her soul, was at the head chair, and she said she was apologizing. I said, no, I knew it was uneven. I said, Mara, if you give me the lights, I would turn it down. I said, just in my, I couldn't accept it. So yeah, that was after the pec tear.
Wow.
Everybody there smoked. Oh my
God. Jim, when you need to dig deep to get a lift to win, where do you go and what is it like? So like.
Wow. Oh. Okay. Say that one again.
When you need to dig deep to get a lift for the win, where do you go and what is it like? So like, how do you find your motivation to dig deep and pull it off when the pressure's on?
Wow, that's what I think.
It's a good question.
That's one of the best questions. I can't be specific. I just more or less find something to motivate myself. You say a prayer and hope it comes out for the better, and just say, I mean, I can't give a specific. It's just you have to find it within yourself. I mean, it's just something. Again, I can't give specific words. I mean, going back there, going for like my first. And Ryan, no offense, I mean, you rep my bench. The first time I benched 700, it was just like, you got to get this. I mean, this is something you have to motivate yourself to say, this is something you've never done before. How bad do you want it? It's within yourself.
Okay.
Todd Beecraft has another question.
God, that's a hard. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. Good answer. You got to find it within yourself.
I really think I'm gonna probably for my teachers tomorrow, the next week, I'm gonna ask them that. Wow.
That's a good one. Okay, so Todd Beecraft wants to hear Jim's thoughts on 1997 World's Strongest Man contest winner. Who I'm gonna probably butcher this.
Yoko
Ahola.
Oh, that's Todd. Come on, give me something easier. Yoko, he reset the standards. I mean, he came in. He was one of the first ones who introduced. You had to weight train and cross train. You had to do strongman stuff and weight training. I mean, again, the guy came out there. Like I said, you previously had powerlifters who were just strong, who did the events. He did cross training. He would do like a couple days weight training, a couple days event training. So, I mean, he reset the standard. And again, there's a shot of him, and I've got it, ironically, right over here in my bookcase in Iron Mind. Shot of him with his shirt off his back. And I mean, it's just straight down the middle. Just his erectors are just phenomenal. So, no, he redid the standard.
Okay.
Drew Caudell has a little comment here. I don't know if you know that name, if I've spelled...
No, be careful. That's my best friend from college and roommate.
Okay. Well, he's got something to say.
Jim is one. Okay, looks like it's gonna be nice. Jim is one of the best people I know. Very humble. We used to let him walk in the restaurant ahead of us the night before meets just to watch people stare at him because he was so big. It was awesome.
Okay. I thought you could tell. Okay. Thank you, Drew. Drew, you're watching this. Thank you for not embarrassing me.
There's another question from him down there later, though.
I will say this: he and his wife have an adorable baby boy.
Oh, cool! Congratulations! Very cool.
Yes. All the fart noises the kid makes. I got to ready.
Did you ever use smelling salt when lifting?
Yes and no. I did. Let me think. Back in one of my first meets, when I did the 80th PA meet back in Austin, somebody it was like I think my third squat lift, and somebody gave me Ricky Crane's smelling salts, and I took a hit of I saw exactly, and took a hit of that, and God rest his soul, his brother Bennett, who was head president of the 80th PA, was I got a whiff of that, and just my head rushed. I said a curse word. I had to apologize to him because if this has got man of the cloth. But after that, the smelling salts, no, I never really got into because they were too much of a distraction.
Right. On a side,
especially Ricky's. I mean, those things. I mean, that would just let you know. That would set your head on fire. No, that for me was too much of a distraction.
Did you use any pre-workout in your day, Jim? Okay.
No,
okay.
Never did. Carb drink, but not pre-workout.
Okay.
Drew Cuddell has another question.
Drew has another question here. Did his smaller lifter friends in college ever have him slap them before lifts to get them hyped up after smelling salts?
Repeat that one again.
Did his smaller lifter friends in college ever have him slap them before lifts to get them hyped up after smelling salts?
I think so, but it wasn't really.
Todd B.
We got Todd B. Craft again. Ask him if he remembers the plane ride from Hell to Idaho Falls. Small plane, major turbulence, lots of people throwing up and crying. Jim had to sit in the center of the plane to help balance it out.
Wow.
Todd has pictures of that. Going to Idaho, it was a small prop plane, and just because, for room's sake, I sat in the middle of the back of the plane. And what happened was, the story goes, he was getting on. That's when he was dating Julie, and they were going to the plane. This plane, it was a flying can. And he looked at Julie and said, "Well, could you imagine if Jim Voronin ever got on this plane?" And he looked back, and of course, I'm standing like 3 people behind him. So we get on there, and for again, there's really no reserved seats. So I sit back in the middle. If there's an open aisle, so I'm going to stretch my legs out, and people beside me. Todd takes a picture, and it was a plane. It was a ride from hell. It was not pleasant, but I think he got a kick out of it because I sat in the middle to balance out the weight of the plane. According to
Why
him.
were people throwing up and crying? What? It was a turbulence.
I don't remember the crying or throwing up. I just think there was a lot of turbulence because it was a small prop plane. You're going into a Snake River, Idaho. It's a small airport. It's a double prop plane, of course. And again, every time the wind blows, you're going to feel it bouncing. So he was sitting up front when Julie was involved with other people. I was in the back in the safe area. So if anybody was throwing up, I didn't know.
You missed that part.
Drew has.
He got that privilege.
I'm sure he loved that.
Drew has another question.
Ask him if he remembers moving a VW out of a parking space to park the tech van after a meet in Austin. Want me to read it again?
Vaguely. That's been a long time ago. I'm going to take the fifth on that one.
Okay.
Probably we went down to the Texas Tech the team. And again, loosely assembled. We managed to get a van from the university, checked out to us. God, I don't know what they were thinking about. And I'm going to take the fifth on that one.
All right. We'll allow that. Let's see, where's our next one here?
Roger Bro.
How do you believe your strength training built your character? What parts of that journey made you who you are?
Oh, geez. Awesome question. The discipline, the self-discipline is one thing. The commitment, one thing. The ability to goal set and set something and then stay on that goal. That has that part of it, and that's a damn good question. I think a lot of that affected me in my career was being able to set a goal, set a goal, set steps to do it, and stay on that path, and have a plan. And the discipline's part of it. If this is what you want to do, you can't do this. So that, I mean, especially for while I was lifting, I will tell you this: when I was competitive lifting, I was a boring person. I mean, for me, it was going to work, training, going to bed. I mean, if anything affected my getting that total, I mean, if it wasn't part of the plan, it wasn't going to happen. You know, I might have gone. I had I think maybe one bar in El Paso. I go to the bartender knew me. I'd have a couple beers, but then of course I'm done. Go home. Otherwise, I mean, I was in bed. I mean, every single thing. And I look back now, and this is what makes it so hard to be. And Ryan, you know this. This is what makes it so hard to be a competitive lifter at the top level. Is you have to sacrifice so much else to get to there. I mean, you have to sacrifice family events. I mean, there's so much you have to put up with. So it just made me a very disciplined person.
I can attest to that, Jim, for sure.
So I mean, I look back now. I look back now and said, God, I wish I'd gone to this, wish I'd done that. But again, I had goals I set for lifting, and I didn't. I'm just saying. The question, it's a great question. I'm sitting there just like, oh my God, this guy just hit a nerve. You know, and that's what people understand for professional athletes is that, you know, I mean, if you're focused on this goal, I mean, you don't have to be a jerk off about it, but you have to be civil to other people and make them understand that this is what I'm going to achieve. I can't go party with you. I can't go to this. Can't do that. You know, so there's a lot of sacrifice. So yeah, it made me very disciplined and made me very goal-oriented. Man, great question. Holy crap, I'm ready for that. Okay, I feel like I just gave birth.
Feel emotionally drained after that one. That was a good question.
No, not really. No, that made me think. That's an awesome question. And I just even for powerlifting, for right now, for the lifters now, I mean, I don't think a lot of them get it. I mean, some of them do, some of them don't. To compete at that high of a level, I mean, you got to make a lot of sacrifices. I mean, you're giving up going to family functions, you know, this or that. I mean, just again, because you got to train, get a rest. I mean, they don't get that.
It's 110% commitment, and everything you're saying just makes me think back myself on friends I gave up, and the small circle of friends I had, and how disciplined it was. No drinking, I didn't party. Yeah. I mean, I was locked in because I wanted to be the best in the state, the world. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, again, my sister's wedding here, sister's wedding '98. Before we went to Grouse, Australia. I brought I literally packed my squat shoes and my stuff to work out at a gym in Dallas, coming from El Paso. So I'm gonna get a leg workout in. You know, it's just as that, and of course, and that one I could turn the punch bowl with my mother. But I said, I mean, I've already paid to go to Austria, so yeah. So I don't think a lot of them get that now.
Roger Brome asked that question, and he just posted that he's a psychologist. LOL, great answer.
He likes your answer.
Likes your answer.
I'm great. Awesome.
You passed.
Drew.
So Drew Caudell again. We all looked up to Jim.
Drew, hold on, let me say, Drew, you better behave.
It's looking positive, though. I think you're good. We all looked up to Jim at Tech and always picked his brain. He has a lot of knowledge. In all seriousness, awesome person and role model. Oh, very nice.
All right. He knows it. He knows I love it.
Very nice.
Well, Jim, that's the end of the questions in the chat box, and I don't mean to cut it short or nothing, but I know you're working, man, and you got to get up in the morning, and it's 10 after 10 in Texas time, and I don't want to hold you too late here.
We did have another question pop in here. Somebody is wondering if your 700 bench was a raw or equipped.
It was equipped.
Okay.
You know, the real picture was, I told Scott this last night, was when I did those, my shirt, I lost water weight each time. So the shirt wasn't like really. I mean, I never did an open back shirt. I mean, I always had it closed. For me, the open, and Scott, no offense if you did it. No, sorry, Ryan. Sorry. The open back, I just saw too many guys putting on bench shirts that would fit their little brother. And Ryan, I don't think you never did that.
The open back shirt, I first saw George Halbert do that at a Kieran Kidder meet in Daytona Beach in 2001. Yeah. And I was honored and to talk to Halbert, and I ended up cutting the back of my shirt because I thought it was an advantage. You know, I was always trying to get better, and if I see somebody doing something and it's something I'm not doing, it's something I definitely want to put in my arsenal. And I tried it for a while in the denim shirts, and then we went into the Rajecks and the Phenoms, and some of those were open back too. But I just wanted to do what everybody else was doing, if that's what worked. So.
No, but in all honesty, to your credit, I mean, I never saw you wearing a shirt that was just barely hanging off your chest.
I understand.
You know, I was just like, okay, what?
I got you.
So I understood open back, but just in the back, but when it's just like barely here off your pecs, it's like, okay, dude, it's like your little brother.
I got you.
So now your credit, you just some great matches. So no, mine, I never really could get used to open back. I mean, I always had closed back. Yeah, that's probably to my fault.
Okay. So more compliments on your shirt. Jim rocking that thin blue flag. Here's another question.
Hey, I'm going to say this without pissing people off. Hey, blue lives matter.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Sorry.
We agree. Absolutely. And like I said, there's been several comments. Here's another one. Thanks for the thin blue line shirt. We retired LEOs and family really appreciate it. So.
No, just pissing me off. Just FYI, you just had a Detroit police officer killed in the line of duty by somebody just doing his job, and the press didn't cover it.
Not.
It bothers the piss out of me.
It's ridiculous. I know. We agree. Let's see.
David Cody has a question.
Try not do this one.
Yeah, Cody or
Cody, Coody, wants to know.
Yeah. David is one of my buddies from Texas Tech. We lived in college. He was an awesome 123 lifter.
Well, he's got two questions for you, Jim. So
he first he asks, why did you not try bodybuilding?
I like to eat. I like the answer.
Fair enough.
His second question is, what is one of the highlights from being a meat judge? Oh, you were a meat judge also.
Yeah. Okay, let me see if he can hear this. I need him to specify a high school meat judge or judge in general. See if he responds.
Okay. Dave, we need a response, Dave.
Dave, if you can hear this, please clarify whether it's high school.
Dave,
he hasn't answered yet.
He hasn't answered.
Okay, he is probably referring to being a meat judge for Texas high school.
High school.
High school.
Yep, just came in.
High school. Okay, yeah, that's it. I've been involved with that for like the last 18 years down the state meet. And for me, it was like a calling. It's the opportunity for me to give back to the sport and give back to people that helped me. I mean, there were people that helped me coming up that, I mean, they didn't have to give me the time of day. So if I go to these high school meetings, I can sit there. You're not supposed to coach from the chair, but I can talk to the coaches and I can talk to the lifters on the side. So it's more or less when I started doing it back in 2002, and I love it. It's awesome. I was really pissed off this past year when COVID took over 2020. We couldn't go to the state meet, but you get a chance to help sit there. It's a chance for me to get back to the sport. So when I first got back here in Dallas-Fort Worth back in 2002, in 2003, one of my mentors said, "You're going to go to judge these meets." And I'm like, "Okay, let's do this." I went ahead, I read the rule book. I got to know the coaches. I mean, I've gotten to know the coaches in DFW and through the region, the state. And so it's more of a chance. It was more of a chance for me to give back. I mean, people were willing to help me when I didn't know squat, so I'm willing to give back to them.
Very cool.
So, and again, I've had kids. I mean, God bless them. I've had kids. I've watched. I mean, through 4 years grow up. That's cool. You know, from the freshman to senior years. Had one, Herman. Oh, good bless. I met him as a sophomore. He was at Denton Ryan High School here in Dallas-Fort Worth. Pretty much, I donated all my gear to him so he could wear it. He was like 6'6", almost 400 pounds. Went on to become he bombed at regionals, and I told him I'd get my squat suit, and I said, "Look, this suit's got an 800-pound squat. Don't mess it up." He bombs out, but he got a 4-year. I look at him. He got a 4-year scholarship to LSU and started as a freshman. Went to the pros.
Wow.
I mean, I watched him grow up. I mean, it's again. I'm sitting there. I see these kids year to year. I watch them grow. I mean, I'm just giving back to them. It's just I love it.
It's very cool.
So you watch them develop. You see them get stronger. You coach them and encourage them. I can't do it from the chair, but I can tell them stuff off to the side. So I'm more or less that was my way of giving back to the sport because people did it for me.
Very nice.
Very nice.
All right, let me get my soapbox.
It's really cool that you did that. Where is sorry?
I was there for the young man who 2 years ago squatted 1,005, and I was just walking out, single suit, and deep. I'm just like, oh my God, this will never be broken. Well, it'll be 20 years.
That's impressive. Very impressive. Where is Jim a vice principal at? What?
I am a vice principal at Irving MacArthur High School, Irving, Texas. Go Cardinals.
Nice. Very cool.
Red and black.
Very cool.
Our motto is "We will win."
I like that motto.
It's a good one. It's a very good one. So somebody named Robert Esparza. Does that sound familiar? He's kind of...
Yes, Robert's a good friend of mine. He is a retired police officer with Union Pacific. We were training partners in El Paso. Good man. Great man.
He says, our state line days, miss them days. And then he also says, thanks for all you did for my kids. So, very cool.
Okay, I'm going to get teared up here. Robert, okay, let me get my breath because that hit a heartstring. Robert and I have been friends for years. I had 2 of his boys. Was their teacher in junior high. They're awesome kids. Both got full ride scholarships. They got full academic scholarships from Notre Dame. He and I turned out we trained together. We were partners for about 5 years. And what's really funny is, because he's talking about the state line, was because El Paso is right there on the New Mexico state border. And so, and Ryan, you would love this. Okay, yeah, lean in. We would go on. We would go because it's right there. It's on Fridays. We would go to the State Line Barbecue over in New Mexico, and it was what they call the Country Boy Special. It was all you could eat, beef ribs, brisket, sausage, and the sides. For at the time, this is like $8.90, $14. So yeah, okay, it gets better. So being El Paso is predominantly Catholic, you could go there on Fridays and it'd be almost empty and load up. And so what we would do is go there on Fridays and load up. And one of our trainers said they would bring beans and the coleslaw, and he'd say, "No, just put that aside and load up on protein." So we got, yeah, great times. What was really funny was one time we were there. I was trying to be civilized and you've got these huge Flintstone ribs. So I'm going to put it up. I'm wearing a white T-shirt. I'm going to carve down the side, get the most out of it. Well, it's already got barbecue sauce on it, and I'm carving down. Well, the rib shoots out, hits me dead in the chest, and it looks like I got shot. So I go to walk through the restaurant with a white shirt on. People look at me like I'm with a red spot. So washed best I could, came back, did what I could with the brisket and all the meat. But yeah, great times, like I said. And again, both Robert, great guy, his kids. I mean, I can't say enough. I mean, love them to death.
Very nice.
All you can eat, Jim. That gets me excited. So.
Oh no, dude, we're talking at that time. You're talking late '90s for $14. The meat. I mean, they would just keep bringing stuff out. I mean, it was just. I mean, more or less, I would wake up on Saturday mornings not wanting to eat breakfast. We go to. I mean, we're supposed to squat on Saturdays, and it's just like, okay, I'd eat a little bit just to get some carbs in me because I mean, you're still full from the night before.
I can only imagine.
I mean, it's obscene.
Todd Beecraft has a question.
He would like to.
Surprise.
He would like to know if you have any crazy fight stories.
No, not really. Only from when I worked after I graduated, working in bars or restaurants in Lubbock at bars. Okay. Nothing really big. More or less, you got to get to it quick, be quick, right. End it fast. You know, I will say this: large wooden doors do help things. Yeah, and when you're escorting people out, yeah, those big heavy wooden doors, they kind of help things. But no,
I can paint the picture. I understand. I used to bounce myself, so yeah. Roger Brome has a question again.
The historical helpfulness of powerlifting is unique. Do you think the new generation will keep it?
No. And that's what makes me sad is, I met up with this past 2 days with a friend, John Neighbor from Great Britain. And he brought up a lot of historical names like Kennelly, Collins, and other names from Great Britain. And it's really sad because, I mean, even again for American lifting, I mean, there's people like how many people, McDonald, John Cook, Bill Peanuts West. I mean, they don't know this. It's kind of sad. It's kind of being a football player and not knowing. It's kind of being a football player and not knowing who Johnny Unitas is. I mean, I think it's really sad. Is I just and this is where it's just me, and what I'm picking up on. I just don't think some of the lifters now have a respect for where they came from. I mean, they don't know the names. I mean, even again, I'm friends with Vince Anello on Facebook on a day-to-day, and Lamar Gant, and some of them have no clue what those guys did, and it just makes me sad.
Roger Brome said,
there were so many trailblazers that did stuff, and of course, people are going, oh, that's without gear, this. But I mean, these guys, I mean, Don Reinhold, Roger Eastep. I mean, these guys set the pace for what we do now, and these guys have no clue.
Part of that question was that he was just asked was, read that.
The culture of sharing, training, and technique, for example. So that was supposed to go along with that question, like the historical helpfulness of powerlifting is unique. Do you think the new generation will keep it up? For example, the culture of sharing, training and technique, for example?
As far as the training, you do what works for you. Terry Todd wrote a book, and I wish to God you can't find it, because it was an awesome book. It was Inside Powerlifting in the 70s. I mean, and that's golden right now. Some of the training there would work for some people, wouldn't work for others. But I mean, you do what works for you. So it goes back to what works for you, what doesn't. But just stick with it. Don't give it like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then it doesn't work. So again, they need to what works for them, what doesn't work.
Okay.
Todd Beecraft.
Does the gym you trained at in El Paso for your powerlifting still exist? What was the name of it?
Yes and no. The first part, we worked out with my training partner, Scott Warren, was the strength coach at El Paso. We worked in the UTEP weight room. We were very spoiled and fortunate because we could put our own equipment in there, and he could order stuff, on the budget for the players, but we just happened to use. And then he went to his own gym, Scott Warman's Pro Gym, which still exists. So yeah, they're both still there.
Okay.
Now, if you want to see if you want to get an idea, I'm throwing him under the bus. A really awesome gym. If you go to the Back Street Gym in El Paso, his ex-wife Mary Ellen has created a awesome training facility.
Okay. I found a copy. So this is from James Leach. I found a copy of Inside Powerlifting in the library when I was a teenager / young adult. There's stuff in there that I still do today. So talking about that book that you were telling us about. Oh, we got Todd Beecraft again. That's why this podcast is so good, because it pays respect to all the generations of powerlifting, thus educating younger lifters on people like Jim and others.
Okay, for the Inside Powerlifting, if it works, stay with it. For what Todd said, I told my wife tonight, we were eating dinner before I came in here, and I said, you know what, I never thought I would be the link between the old school and new school, but it's just kind of cool. So I'm very flattered.
Very cool.
Did you ever have it? I wanted to ask a question, Jim. Did you ever meet John Cook?
No, I did. I didn't. The real pisser was that one of the first back in '85. One of my first meets in UT Austin was John Cook was supposed to be a guest lifter, and he didn't show. But Mike Hall was there, and like I told you, Mike Hall was sitting there at 6 foot 400 something pounds. So yeah, no, I never met John Cook.
Gus Rethridge used to speak highly about him, and that's another name we brought up last night was Gus Rethridge, and talked about him a little bit. So it just made me think when he said Cook. So
no. Here's the thing. I've never met Gus personally. I mean, I know of him. I know his reputation. I mean, I think we've almost crossed paths multiple times. What's really funny was he put on a bench deadlift meet here like 7-8 years ago, and he was pissed off I didn't show. And I'm like, well, dude, I didn't know about it.
Well, that's kind of how Gus is. He's hot and cold, But we love Gus.
Yeah, exactly. I went in a Metroflix gym, and I talked to Brian Dobson. He's like, he said, Gus is pissed at you. I'm like, I said, why? He said, Jim Voronin will be here. I said, I didn't know the meeting's going on, dude. I'll do what I can to promote, but said, like, holy crap. So, yeah. I don't know about Gus.
David Cootie has a question again.
Did you enjoy combined meets like squat, bench, deadlift, or individual competition like bench only better? Which one did you prefer? Full power or bench only?
No, I liked all three because there were a couple of times when I want to push my bench up. I think I did bench only twice, and I just really didn't like it. It just didn't have the same panache for me. And again, Ryan, no offense to you. I just for me, I wanted to go squat, bench, deadlift. Yeah, put it all together. The 2 to 3 times I did it, it didn't feel. Something was weird. It didn't feel right.
Roger Barome has a question.
If you could advise your young self, what advice would you give Jim?
What do you mean?
What advice would you give?
Squat. Focus on your deadlift. Yeah, yeah. Right now, for me, look, focus on one. Okay, let me back up. One big thing: deadlift. Fix your deadlift. I mean, because I was naturally built for squatting because I'm a short-legged, tall-torso. Bench-wise, I guess I was gifted, but I don't know what the hell happened for deadlifts. Yeah, focus, get your deadlift strong. Do good mornings, do rack pulls, get your back strong.
Good advice. Looks like that was their last one.
Seems to be it.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, any parting words for the evening? It was a pleasure having you on here, and
yeah.
No, guys, it's been great. I'm very flattered.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was really good to have you. You've been great. You've had some awesome things to say. Very fascinating. Sounds like you had an amazing career, and it's been really fun to hear about it. Definitely.
It was not.
And again, all the questions. I mean, there were like a couple of questions there that was just like, holy crap! That means, if you ask me about meats, but you start asking that stuff in depth, I'm just like, okay, I've got to really reflect on this. So, but that's good.
Yeah, it was very interesting. As I was coming into the sport, I always see your name in Powerlifting USA, and it's like as you're 96, 97, 98, and 2000. I remember seeing you in Powerlifting USA quite a bit, and I always wanted to know who Jim Voronin was. And thanks to Todd Beecraft for kind of setting this up.
Yeah,
I mean,
thank you, Todd.
This has been a great situation here, and very pleased to have you, Jim. And
yes, we're very excited to have
like
you.
I said, when I make the trek down to Texas whenever this COVID thing is over, and we get into Dallas, we'll definitely have to go get some food or something, some good health food, maybe. I don't know, maybe some good barbecue.
No, I will take you to the best barbecue place. Don't worry.
Sounds great.
So I will diet before that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it's soon. And
hopefully soon. I know.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get through this.
Okay, just give me
a
heads up.
We'll do it, Jim. Well, Jim, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for your time. I know you got to work tomorrow. I know it's later where I know you're a couple hours ahead of us, so it's quite a bit later where you're at.
Yeah, right about. Okay, I can make it. Again, we're pretty much right now school-wise. We're on virtual, so it's not that hard.
Good.
Well,
so I can pick it tomorrow. I can pick it tomorrow morning.
Perfect.
All right, Jim. Well, we'll sign off here, and if you ever want to do this again, you're more than welcome to come aboard.
Again. Yep, you've been
and
great.
We'd love to have you again.
It's been an honor.
I'll be honored to say the word.
Awesome.
All right,
Sounds
Jim. Well,
great.
thank you very much, and God bless you, and good night, sir.
Thank you so much for your time.
All right,
Good
y'all take care.
Thank you.
Well, let's see. So, that was awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there was a few questions in the chat box that I didn't get to, but I will answer those maybe next week. We kind of skipped over those. It was Jim's.
To keep it focused on
Jim.
Our special guest.
We didn't purposely pass your questions, but there was a couple in there that were for me, and I will answer those next week. Yeah, thank you for joining us, everybody.
Cool guy, man. That was really fun to hear about his career and his accomplishments, and his take on his career. It was just very fascinating, and we really appreciate his time. That was awesome.
I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I always wanted to meet the man. I actually had the opportunity to sit down with him last night and kind of test the Skype screen, and we talked for about 45 minutes, and we had some good laughs. And Jim's a down-to-earth guy, man.
Very
He's just
cool guy.
Consider him a friend, man. I never shook his hand and never met him, but life ain't over yet, man. And we will be in Texas sometime. That's right. Yeah, whenever. I don't know. You can't plan anything anymore.
When we can make plans
but,
again.
Yeah, he's just a person I like to hang out with, and maybe go to the gym with him. And
that'd be cool.
Yeah, just do a workout or something,
have you guys walk
and
into
video
the gym
that
together.
too. So
that'd be very cool. Have some footage for the show.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And thank you, Todd Beecraft, for setting this up, man. This was awesome. It gives me chills just talking about it. So appreciate that. And we don't know what next week will bring, but hopefully you guys will join us next week.
For you. Yep. Please join us next week.
We'll have some twists and turns. Maybe who knows what?
Who knows?
Yeah, you never know what we're gonna do, but we'll try to bring it, and we'll try to make it entertaining and educational and witty and fun and maybe whatever else. On that note,
that was uncalled for.
That was the Three Stooges. Yeah. Hey, we got to go to Walmart. We have to get some groceries. So
yeah, we do need groceries.
Anyway, we're going to sign off, everybody, and
thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
And God bless
everybody.
Have
a great week, and we'll see you guys next week.
And we'll do it again next week, guys. Good night.
Bye.